Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today we get to talk about the Z06 Corvette in Need for Speed Heat. Let's go! Real quick before I get into the Z06, if you're looking for all of my best guides, my builds, or my car rankings, you can go to militiagamingco.com. I've updated the site with all of the newest information, including a link to our Discord if you're looking for a level 50 crew. All right, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about, which is always the engine. The engine of the Z06 that is the best to perform the best was easily the 710 horsepower 3.9 liter V8. This thing ran a 252 on Arian, which is around 13th overall, which is great. Any car that can make it in the top 20 is actually really fast. The other time that I ran was 240.7 on Sonic. Again, it's not the fastest car, but it's definitely in the top 20. And I was actually really surprised by this because the Grand Sport, which is its sister model, it actually performs a lot better on the track than I expected it to as well. These cars are really, really close. So I didn't expect the Z06 to be as good as the Grand Sport, but it's very, very close. I've got the Grand Sport in the top 15 as well, so they are insanely close cars. They run really, really closely, and the Z06 actually performs better in the drifting, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. So with that being said, here is my full track build. We've got that 710 horsepower engine, all Ultimate Plus engine parts, dual turbo, 5x3 pound NOS. Then you've got the Super Track suspension, Elite brakes, Elite race tires, Elite Plus clutch, Super 5-speed gearbox. The reason I went with the 5 instead of the 6, it's because the 6-speed, you rarely see 6th gear, and when you do shift into 6th gear, the car kind of bogs down a little bit because the RPMs drop. So the 5-speed gearbox definitely performs better. Super Track differential, NOS refills, and NOS duration. We've got the steering sensitivity at +2 and the downforce at +3. It is a little bit of a slippy car, wants to drift a lot. So you could actually take that downforce up even more if you wanted, but I prefer it around 3. Traction control off and drift style on gas. All right, let's move on to the drag build. This car is really no slouch in drag racing as well. It runs an 8.67, which is, around 24th or so on the cars that I've tested. And it has a 1.9 0 to 60, so it's a little bit slow to start, but midway through the transmission, midway through the gearbox, it starts to take off and the NOS really goes into effect. So it runs an 8.67, that's again 24th. It's pretty good, but it's not like the best. And considering there isn't really any drag events in this game, this build is kind of useless unless you're just messing around with your friends. But here is the full build. So we got that same 3.9 liter V8 engine, same parts, same dual turbo, the 1x15 pound NOS, Super Track suspension, Elite brakes, and Elite drag tires. We've got the Elite Plus clutch, Super Plus 6-speed gearbox. The 6-speed actually does perform better in a quarter mile. I don't know why, but it definitely did. I tested both of them. 6-speed was better, so run that for your drag build. Super Track differential, NOS refills and duration, steering sensitivity +2, downforce -5, traction control off, and drift style on gas. All right, moving on to probably the best part of what this car offers, and that's the drift build. The drifting on this car is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the cars that I put in my top 5, and if you haven't seen that video, you can click the link in the top right of this video. This car is way too good at drifting. It feels insane to drive. It just slides so perfectly. It transitions easy. You can use the left brake or the handbrake if you want to transition. Handbrake will slow you down a little bit more. Left brake will be a more slidey transition, but you can do anything you want with this car. This is an excellent drifting car, especially the way I've got it built. It feels so smooth, so I highly recommend this. This is one of the best drift cars in the game. That being said, here is the build. So we got that same engine parts and dual turbo with a 5x3 pound NOS. I went with Super Speed Cross suspension, Elite brakes, Elite drag tires, Elite Plus clutch, Super 5-speed gearbox, the Pro Drift differential, and then NOS refills, NOS duration, and then steering sensitivity is +5, downforce is -5, and then you've got traction control off and drift style on gas. Lastly, let's take a look at the off-road build. What did this car do off-road? Well, It actually is a rocket ship off-road. I mean, it runs a 150.3, and I made a few mistakes in that run. I think you can definitely run a sub 150 on HTV2, and then it ran a 313 on Rumble, which is insanely fast, which if you combine those times, it's 503.3, and that's enough to make it into the top 15 for off-road. That's crazy. I did not expect this car to be that fast off-road, but it is fast on-road as well. So this thing does a lot of things very, very well. It's a good car to add to your garage. And I noticed that it actually takes jumps pretty well as well. So if you want to use it for getting all of the long jumps, then this would be a good car to do it. Just make it an off-road build because a lot of the jumps are off-road. So with that said, here is my off-road build. It's that same engine parts, dual turbo as before, 5x3 pound NOS, super rally suspension, elite brakes, elite off-road tires, elite plus clutch, super 5-speed gearbox, super rally differential, NOS refills and duration, and then steering sensitivity at +2, downforce at 0. So I had to increase the downforce a little bit because it was way too slippy, and you can actually increase it a couple more points. This is how I prefer to drive it, but it gets a little too slidey and it doesn't regain traction if you have downforce all the way down. You notice in a lot of my other builds, I drop the downforce all the way down for my off-road build, but in this case, we want a little bit of downforce, so we put it at 0. It works perfect. Traction control is off, drift style is on gas. Hey, before I go, shout out to all the Heat 5 members of the channel. If you want to see your name up here with the rest of these legends, all you have to do is click the join button below and become a Heat 5 member. By doing this, you'll be supporting the channel in ways you will not believe, and you get all kinds of sweet perks like members only streams and specific exclusive Discord channel access. And with that, I'll end the video. I really appreciate everyone's support on this series. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and shout out to all the subs. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.